And we are live. Hello, everybody. Thank you so very much for clicking on. It is American Doofus channel. The show's Eyes Open on YouTube. And you may go to the YouTube site and comment if you would like, and we will be able to see that. And I will reference that as we go along tonight. The title is Scientology Amway with Aliens. Well, what do you mean by that? Okay, I'll tell you what I mean here coming up. First of all, the reason for tonight's episode. Over the past, I'm going to say 10 to 12 days, I have been having a lot of stuff show up in my timelines on social media accounts about Scientology. And when I was in college, I was given a copy of Dianetics. We'll touch on Dianetics coming up here in a couple of minutes. But other than that, only thing I knew about Scientology was that there were some Hollywood celebrities that are Scientologists or were. Again, we'll come to that. So that was going on in my timeline there, and then I find out Lori Arnold is going to Austin, Texas, to protest the Scientology Center opening or reopening. I'm not sure what it is. They're in Austin, and by the way, she's got 3 episodes of what went on when they were there Friday night, what went on there Saturday, and then what went on today. So that, again, Lori Arnold. So I spent the past couple of days kind of delving into what Scientology is on a very, I didn't do a deep dive or anything like that. On a very rudimentary scale, I've kind of looked into it, and the thing that it just jumped out to me was that it's basically Amway. It's basically Amway with aliens. And what do I mean by that? Hang on a second here. Let me make an adjustment if I can, to where we get the screen big. There we go. And hello, not going away. Thank you so very much for being here as always. Nancy McMonarch, good evening to you. Guy Bassett, how are you? I am in the Eastern time zone in Central Indiana, Guy. That's where I'm at tonight. And good to see you as well. So when I saw what Scientology kind of was, I went this, okay, and the reason I did the Amway, said it was Amway with angels. Amway, for those that don't know, short for American Way, and American multi-level marketing meaning pyramidish, triangular shape, that sells health, beauty, and home care products. The company was founded in 1959 by J. Van Andel and Richard DeVos. If the name DeVos sounds familiar, it is because the Secretary of Education in the Trump administration had the name DeVos and is indeed connected to this Amway. A multi-level marketing company, and we'll just leave it at that, because this isn't about Amway. Now, why Amway with aliens? Well, Xenu, Zenu, or also called, according to this down here, also called Zemu, Zemu, but Xenu was the ruler of a galactic confederacy 75 million years ago This is according to L. Ron Hubbard, which consisted this galactic confederacy consisted of 26 stars, 76 planets, including Earth, and Earth at that time was known as Tegeak. The planets were overpopulated and containing an average population of 178 billion. So if they were similar to Earth and they had 178 billion creatures on them, the size of Earthlings, they would indeed be overpopulated. So thus, Amway with aliens. L. Ron Hubbard, born March 13th, 1911, passed away January 24th, 1986, founder of Dianetics and the Scientology movement. And again, okay, I was given a copy of Dianetics back in... it was either like 1970, somewhere between like 1979, 1983. And I read the first like a little bit of it and went, no, I can't see this. And I gave it away. And the person I gave it away to got really upset with me for giving it to them and thought I was trying to program them or something. And I'm like, no, I was just showing you, it's showing you things that are out there. Doesn't mean you have to accept everything. I'm just showing you there's alternatives out here. I gave it away. Obviously, it wasn't something I was attached to, and I didn't anticipate your reaction. That wasn't the intention. Anyway, so I say that to give you an idea of the controversy surrounding the very fabric and foundation of Scientology. And again, L. Ron Hubbard, the founder. Before I get it, I'm not going to tell you everything. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you everything about Scientology in the limited time I'm going to be on here. This is just sharing, like we always do on here, giving you things to think about, not telling you what to think or how to think. Like I said, I didn't know a lot about it. I started digging a little bit. I'm going to share what I have found, and I'm going to give you some recommendations for how to dig on your own. And let's start here with how many Scientology centers are there? And according to the official Church of Scientology, it says Church of Scientology. Canada does not recognize this entity as a church, and I prefer Scientology centers, but that's me. According to their website, there are more than 11,000 centers, missions, and groups in 184 nations. And the movement welcomes more than 4.4 million people each year. Now, this was May 8th, 2017. All right. So how current is that? Well, it is 7 years ago. Where are most Scientologists located? Los Angeles, California has the largest concentration of Scientologists and Scientology-related organizations in the world, with the Church of Scientology's most visible presence being in the Hollywood district of the city. And this is what is known as the Big Blue Building. And for those that don't know, there are ongoing protests in Los Angeles, nightly protests, and we'll get to that. We'll get to more than that. Why does Scientology have celebrity centers? Though the Scientology movement denies the existence of a policy to recruit high-ranking celebrities, The New York Times reported, quote, internal church documents show that their primary purpose is to recruit celebrities and use the celebrities' prestige to help expand Scientology. So that's why one of the main reasons I have a problem with calling it a church is because churches generally don't restrict people from coming inside. Most churches try everything they can to get people to come into the doors to listen to the message. This place is very selective of who even. It's a long process to even get to the truth. Okay, from what I've learned, there are well, I'll get to that in just a moment. Does the U.S. government recognize Scientology as a religion? I got ahead of myself. Scientology is officially recognized as a religion in the United States. It came in 1993. The Internal Revenue Service stated that it's operated exclusively for religious and charitable purposes. I myself, in the limited time I've been investigating this, if you will, or learning about this, educating myself, I guess it would be better than saying investigating. That last statement needs to be reevaluated because there are things going on there that are neither religious nor charitable, in my personal opinion, and I think they need investigated. But again, tonight's about just kind of exposing everybody to what this is and why it is such a big deal to so many people. I have, again, if you're just joining us, I've never been involved with and do not claim to be anywhere near an expert. I'm just showing you information. Who do Scientologists target? Long history of seeking out artists, musicians, writers, and actors. Scientology can help them in their lives and careers. Celebrity Scientologists include the late Christy Alley. Do Scientologists believe in Jesus? John Attic wrote that Scientology is essentially anti-Christian. Hubbard attacked Christianity as an implant and said that Christ was a fiction. So there's your answer for that. Who is the highest level Scientologist? This is OT8 or OT8 operating thetan level 8 is the highest current auditing level in Scientology. All right. Let me stop here for just a moment. Everybody get a good look at this. OT8, OTVIII, or OT8, operating thetan level 8. I'm not going to be able to get this exactly right. So, for any Scientologists that happen to be watching this and say, oh, this is bogus because he messed it up, I'm telling you right up front, I'm probably not going to get it right. But theatans are what supposedly have inhabited the human body. And theatans are immortals, and theatans, once their host body dies, they immediately go into another host body, and they go to centers and have their memories wiped. So there are operating levels. OT, OT1, OT2, OT3, 4, OT5, 6, and 7, and then the top level is OT8. And from what I've gleaned, they say there is OT level 9 and OT level 10, but they cannot, the group cannot get to those levels until there are more people in the group. So that, the pyramid, the pyramid concept here. And also, from some of the things I've been studying, there's no, there is no 9 or 10. It is just like a carrot that is held out as a, as an incentive to the people at the very bottom to work harder, to bring in more people, to bring in more money. And there's 2 ways you can advance up the OT level. One is by basically bringing in more money, giving more money, buying your way up. And the other is working your way up. And if I understand it correctly, the bottom, like the first, like OTs, OT1, OT2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even, most of them know nothing about Xenu or theatans, or they don't hear any of this. And they're kind of kept in the dark because you got to prove your loyalty to the higher people, the people that are higher up the OT scale. And from the inside, I imagine it's very hard for a lot of people to see that, especially people that are lonely, and they get this sense of belonging, even though it's artificial, and even though it's parasitic, at least from what I've been seeing, allegedly, let's say. So it needs exposed. What kind of brought all of this to a head was Danny Masterson. Now, Danny Masterson was in a TV show called That 70s Show. That's what he's most known for. He was the red curly haired, always wore the glasses, the tinted glasses. And Danny Masterson was a member of this Scientology movement. And alleged, well, he's been convicted. He's in prison. So he raped, he drugged, he put drugs in 3 different women's drinks, and then raped them. And he did this at a nightclub in Los Angeles, called Le Poubelle, I believe is what it's called. And I'll get into this a little bit more, but he was protected initially by this organization until he was, excommunicated from the organization eventually. And there are stories from people that have escaped this life, that they've known no other life other than that life since they were children. And if you hear their stories, you understand the angst, the anger, the frustration that things are not done, and that, most of the time the things that are done in the name of this, what they want to call a church, would be criminal activities outside of that church. That's probably a reason for again, all this is alleged. This is just from hearsay from what I've heard, people that have escaped that life. And I think it needs to get out. And I'm doing my part by doing this episode. And whoever sees it, and they think what they want. Okay. I'm just like we always do, just giving you things to think about. By the way, thank you for watching. Thanks for clicking on. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share. I'll pause here for just a moment and say hello to Frank. And again, thank you all for watching. Frank popped into the chat. Okay. Where I want to go from here, again, I want to remind everybody, Lori Arnold, LORIARNOLD. Lori has 3 episodes up from what happened in Austin this weekend. Lori and Echo Romeo were down there, and they did an episode Friday night, one yesterday. Actually, I think they did one Friday, 2 yesterday, and then one today. And you can get an idea of what the organization looks like as they were catching them moving about. All right. Danny Masterson kind of brought this or is bringing this to a head, because it's not there yet. You know, it's not where enough people know about this, because once, you know, I'm at the place where I don't think any church, and I said this the other night, I'm at the place where I don't think any church should have tax exempt status, with the exceptions of, you know, possibly the expenses for the pastor. Outside of that, you know, if you're operating at such a profit that you can buy, or you can, anyway, that's not what this is about. That's for another episode. Anyway, when enough people learn about the Scientology thing, my hope is the pressure will be put on, and this will not, and it will be investigated, and it will not be a tax exempt, money laundering, human trafficking, oppressive, abusing elders and children, the allegations that are not just from one voice. And speaking of that, I'm going to share a couple of things here that are other people's voices. You know, I've given you a lot of information here in a short amount of time. I want to recommend That Curious Cat. That's the name of the channel on YouTube, That Curious Cat. And I'm going to play just a couple of minutes out of an hour and 30-minute interview.
Those unfamiliar with me, my name is Krista, That Curious Cat. Of late, I have been embarking on a journey into Scientology. Many of you may have seen my 4-part series with Sterling Tompkins, where we have delved into the many intricacies of Scientology, from their customs, their practices, and of course, their abuses. In continuing on this journey, particularly in hopes of adding further nuance to the overall corruption and abusive practices of Scientology, next up, I will be chatting with Chris Malin. Chris Malin is an ex-Scientologist from here in the UK, which is where I am. He was a leading auditor and intends to shed further light on his firsthand experiences and what it means to be a Class 5 org auditor within the UK Scientology. He will also be discussing how Scientology continues to repeat the practices of shielding and protecting criminals who donate to the organization. And I need to say in advance, folks, trigger warnings, some of the content may be traumatizing for some viewers, so please proceed with caution. So without...
Okay. Again, this is not about me ripping off her content. This is about me drawing attention to her site. She's only got 464 subscribers at the moment, and this only has 1.6 thousand views. I've watched the entire hour and a half. If you want to know about Scientology in the United Kingdom, this will give you a starting point. She mentioned her other her 4-part series that goes in depth to the various intricacies of Scientology, and I would recommend that to anybody that really wants to explore a little bit. Also, I want to share this from this is from Breaking Point, 1.19 million subscribers, a fairly substantial channel here on YouTube, and
expert.
There we go.
To unpack all of that. So joining us today on Breaking Points is a former Scientologist and host of Growing Up in Scientology on YouTube, Aaron Smith-Levin. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I just played for the audience a little clip of L. Ron Hubbard. He's talking about Xenu, spirits, and exercising thetans. Can you break down for us in a simple term as possible, what is the core teachings and practices of Scientology?
Big dental bills can often come as a shock, but they're...
And of course, I cleared this before starting recording or starting to go live, but we get a commercial pop up. My apologies. Now back to Aaron Smith-Levin, and I'm going to talk about him coming up here in just a second, but let's just listen to a couple of minutes of what he has to say here in the beginning of this interview he did with BP. Oh,
Teachings and practices do actually change as someone goes up the levels in Scientology. There's levels that are non-confidential, and at the higher end, there's levels that are confidential. So the thing about Xenu and the body thetans, most Scientologists don't actually know about that, believe it or not. So the most fair and charitable description that I can give you for what Scientologists believe, all Scientologists believe, even at the lowest level, is they believe that everyone here on earth is an immortal spiritual being. Their word for that is thetan. People say it sounds like Satan with a lisp, but it's just thetan. Scientologists don't believe in a heaven or a hell. They just believe that thetans just continue to exist forever, that this body is just sort of a temporary vessel. When your body dies, you just pick up another body and live lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Now, there's another aspect to this, which is that they believe Earth is actually a prison planet, and that the thetans who are sort of sentenced to live lifetime after lifetime here on Earth are here because they've kind of been banished here as a punishment, sort of that this is quite literally a prison. And that normally a thetan in native state that wasn't in this prison planet would have full and total recall of all their previous lives, because, you know, a thetan just exists forever. And that the reason we only remember one lifetime at a time is that every time we die, we as thetans are sort of pre-programmed as a part of our prison sentence to report into these stations called the Between Lives implant stations that wipe our memories from lifetime to lifetime, and that we're programmed to then shoot back down to Earth and pick up a new body and just live a new lifetime with complete amnesia of not only our previous lives, but our native godlike spiritual potential. Well, does that do a little bit of a service for now?
okay. Again, this is on. Hang on, let me shrink it down. This is on Breaking Points, and it was 11 hours ago, and it features. Well, it features Aaron Smith-Levin, and his site is Growing Up in Scientology, which actually he was live 19 hours ago, and shutting down La Poubelle. Again, this is the restaurant in Los Angeles and Hollywood that Danny Masterson from most famously from that 70s show, one of the stars of that show, and a member of the Scientology movement, was using that location to put drugs in women's drinks, and then commit sexual assault. He raped 3 women. He's been found guilty of that, and is now currently doing time. But growing up in Scientology, if you want to know more about this, and I highly recommend that channel, Aaron's channel. And again, there are a lot of channels, a lot of live streamers for those that like to watch live streams. A lot of live streamers in Los Angeles right now that are covering what's going on out there. So one of them is Jacob Hackey, I think is his name. Looks like a young Clark Kent, sort of. Another one is Nerd Report, that is pretty hot on what's going on out there. Laura FM and Defender of Ants. Defender of Ants is out there. He's been arrested once. He was jailed for 5 days. He's out of jail, and according to the latest reports, he's got better phones than he's ever had before, but he does not have his black socks. Apparently, the Los Angeles police confiscated his socks out of his van when it was impounded. Again. So a lot of potential coverage of what's going on in LA, and it's basically on a nightly basis. They're protesting this restaurant, and there are people that are protesting the Scientology Center in Austin on a regular basis, and her name has Penny in it, but I don't remember. Oh, pardon me. Something Penny, and I forget what her name is. My apologies to her, but there's she's protesting and has I don't know how to find her. I'll find it. I'll tell you what. If Lori Arnold sees this, she'll put it in the comments below after I finish here. And the name of the channel of the lady that is so active in Austin. And I'm gonna hop over here to the chat. And if she doesn't, I'll text her tomorrow and get these. LA Streets is also one. Yes, always be kind. He also chases cops. He audits the LA police, and kind of oversees and keeps an eye on everything around the protest there at La Poubelle, and which I think stands for the poop bucket. Pearl Snappy, thank you, PM27 girl. Thank you very much. It was for some reason, I know why I had Penny on my mind. I watched an episode of Big Bang Theory earlier. Pearl Snappy is someone to follow. So follow Pearl Snappy in Austin. Of course, follow Lori Arnold. DOA's channel is now at of DOA. I think is all. I think it's all one word, or maybe not. I don't know. And maybe, but if you search at Lore of DOA all in one word, I think you'll probably find his new channel. And again, the purpose of tonight was just kind of an introduction and just a little bit about what this organization is all about and why we are going to spend some more time talking about it and trying to raise awareness of it and the potential damages that have allegedly been done. The lore of DOA. Okay. Thank you, PM girl. Lisa Marie has a lot of songs about that. Cult. You have to listen to the lyrics to understand it. Last night at the French restaurant, there was over 50 different protesters. Yes, I watched, Guy. What's the deal with the fire trucks? For those of you that don't watch, and two separate viewings on my part, I've seen fire trucks pull up at the end of the block down from this restaurant, and each time they've acted like, you know, something's going on there, and there's nothing there. And last night they ran up and went back. The other night they put ladders up onto the roof. It's weird. It's just weird. I think there's swatting going on. You know, there are fake calls going on. DOA got hit in the face with a purse the other night. It didn't damage him, but it was, they screamed assault. And only a couple of people are actually, if I heard it right, only a couple of people are actually survivors of that life that are there protesting. And so that shows that awareness is gradually growing, that this thing needs to be investigated, and if everything that is alleged proves to be true, this thing needs to be stopped, no matter how big it is, no matter how many sinners they have, and no matter how many countries they're in. That's my personal opinion anyway. Think what you want, believe what you want, do a little digging on your own. I know if you watch this channel, you do that. And if you know anything about Scientology, or if you were involved and you want to come on and talk, Tuesday night we'll do an episode. And if you know anything about it, you want to come on and talk, or if you're a member and you want to come on and defend, by all means. The way to do that, contact me at American Doofus, AMERICAN. Doofus is spelled DUFUS, all one word, American Doofus at gmail.com. If you'd like to help support the show, you like what we do, the best way to do that is through Cash App, $, again, American Doofus, all one word, AMERICANDUFUS, and it is always greatly appreciated, as are the likes, as are our subscribers, as are mods, and those of you in chat, our viewers. Thank you all for watching, always greatly appreciated. And I'll take one quick look back over and see if there's anything I need to. Last night there were many ex-Scientologists. Okay, I know in the past I had heard that there weren't that many, that the majority, which the ex-Scientologists thought it was great that there were so many there that weren't directly involved that just recognized that this needs to be stopped. So, thank you, not going away. Guy Bassett says, since I've been watching this for almost 3 weeks, fire trucks have showed up to that restaurant, believe it or not, 11 different times, all on false calls. That's nuts. That's nuts. You know, that potentially false calls potentially cost somebody else their life that really needs the help and the service. I hope that never happens, but the potential is there each and every time there's a false call, whether it is swatting with police or trying to dispatch fire and rescue. Just another sign that, you know, what are they trying to hide? What are they trying to hide? Why so secret? You know, nobody's secret with the gospel of Jesus, even though Jesus himself says in the Bible, and you know, that your prayers should be in private and not in public. You know, if you're praying in public. But with that being said, nobody nobody tries to hide the gospel of Jesus. So why so secret? Why are you trying to hide? Just something to think about. We'll be back tomorrow night, Monday night, 9 p.m. our normal time. Normally on Monday night at 9 Eastern. That's 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 out on the West Coast Pacific time. So, again, I'm thankful that you're all here, and I recommend that if you want to learn more, just do a quick search here on YouTube for like hashtag Scientology or something along those lines, and you'll find some of the live streams that are happening out in Hollywood in front of that restaurant. Now's about the time they start generally heating up. So that being said, again, thank you. Please hit the like. Please hit the, not because of my ego, but it helps the algorithm, the channel get exposed if it looks like people are wanting to watch. So please hit the like, subscribe, share, and if you're watching this at your convenience, as most people do, and I'm very grateful for that, leave a comment below. Those of you in the chat, thank you all so very much. And I'll be on tomorrow night at 9. If you want to be on Tuesday and you know something you want to share about Scientology, once again, the email is American Doofus. Doofus is DUFUS, and that is at gmail.com. Thank you so much for being here. Love y'all. It is, it's a dark world. Try to be a light. World needs more light. Thanks for watching.